Well, hello. Thank you for joining me to see a very quick Chalk Couture project using just one Chalk Couture transfer, 2 ink colors, and some Enamelware mugs. Now the transfer used here is called Explore More, and it is a transfer that can be cut into 12 pieces. They all have different images and different sayings. You may notice the containers of ink that I'm using here may look a little bit different than what's on the Chalk Couture site right now. That's because I'm working with the older pots. These are 2-ounce ink pot containers. They now sell 3-ounce containers, but the product is the same. The colors I'm using are called red and black velvet. Now, opening the pots, you may have noticed that the ink requires very little stirring. Unlike chalk paste, paste is usually much thicker and requires a lot more stirring. Now, since the ink is a tad thinner than Chalk Couture paste, I try to use extra care when working with ink to ensure that the transfer is fully stuck to the surface. This helps avoid ink bleeding outside the transfer. The larger Chalk Couture squeegee is really helpful on smooth surfaces to accomplish this. One thing also to keep in mind when working with Chalk Couture ink is that it is permanent. On this first mug, you see how I accidentally got a little bit off the edge of the transfer. So as quickly as possible, I wiped the area with a wet paper towel. Enamelware, glassware, and slick surfaces can be forgiving, as was the case here, but fabric is not forgiving at all. So you have to be super careful when working with fabric. You may notice throughout this video too that I keep checking my hands and fingers. That's because oftentimes we're used to getting paint and such on our hands and it's no big deal. But since the ink is permanent, it's a big deal. So I'm always double checking my fingers to make sure I don't have any excess on these. Now, I found these mugs on sale at Hobby Lobby for 75% off. And man, I wish they had had more. They're great. They're like this Enamelware metal mug. But I had to settle for only 3, 2 with a red rim and 1 with a black rim. Since I started creating with Chalk Couture, I find myself looking for things in deep discount racks that can be either inked or colored with paste. And I have some really fun things coming your way because I've been totally trolling Hobby Lobby sales. They're transitioning their spring-summer merchandise into fall, so it's a great time to find some really neat things. One of their lines that has gone on deep discount is called Farmhouse, and these Enamelware mugs are part of the farmhouse line that they had, but I found some really other cool things coming up, and I expect to have videos for you probably within the next 2 weeks of some really fun things that I found. Now, remember, ink must be heat set to be permanent. The first step is to make sure that ink is completely dry. On fabric, I have a Cricut Easy Press that I use to heat set Couture ink projects. A regular iron can also work, but just be sure that you don't use any steam when you're heat setting on fabric. For glassware and enamelware, like I'm working with here, I usually just let pieces air dry for about 24 hours. Then they go into a cold oven. I'll then set the temp for 350 degrees, bake for 30 minutes, and keep them in the oven until completely cool. Then voila, these are going to be camp-ready Enamelware mugs ready for the next adventure. It took me all in all about 7 minutes just to do these 3 mugs. It's amazing. Links to purchase the Chalk Couture items shown here are posted in the description. And if you're interested in signing up to be part of my Chalk Couture team, be sure to let me know. You can get products for 40% off as part of a team. But at least try these small projects out. They're so simple and sure to make you fall in love with Chalk Couture as much as I have. Thanks so much for watching. Bye now.